Ms. Lema, you admit to making a huge mistake and hope it doesn't affect your baby Christina. You had an affair with Mr. Anderson, who is married, and believe he's your daughter's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Anderson, you say your whole life is on the line and your marriage, and you're hoping you're not the father today.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Lema, tell us how you got yourself into this mess.
Yes, Your Honor. It all started from a Facebook message when Mr. Anderson was messaging me on Facebook. So we started being friends online for about 1.5 years. Then out of the blue one day, he called me and said, let's go out for dinner. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything, so why not? We went out to dinner and we got a hotel room that night. We had sex.
Your Honor.
Just one moment, ma'am.
He, we was planning a trip to go on a trip, so I couldn't make the trip, so I got on Facebook and I told him, I'm sorry, babe, I couldn't make the trip. And a few minutes later, his Miss Anderson, she inboxed me and say, like, who are you? So I'm like, well, I said, I'm his girlfriend of 1 year, so who are you? She was like, well, I'm his wife of 10 years,
Really?
Yes.
So before this, did you know he was married?
No, I did not know he married. He did not show any signs of marriage or anything.
Mr. Anderson, was this true?
I'm just sorry, Your Honor. I just want to say I'm sorry to my wife and my family and my kids.
I believe you are sorry.
Your Honor, it was a big mistake. And, I really want my marriage and I want my marriage to work. But
and
it
I
started,
see your wife next to you and I feel her pain.
Me and my wife, we had a bad, argument and, and I decided to go out and take Miss Lema out one night. And me and her went out to, the hotel. I brought her roses and, we had sex that night.
So just this night, or is Miss Lema's assertion that this went on, she told your wife she was your girlfriend for 1 year?
Well,
that's not one night. Was it one night or was it 1 year?
Well, it was one night. I haven't heard from her in months. And then she come telling me that, she's pregnant, she having a baby, and she says mine, she wanted to be my baby and all that type of stuff. I told her, look, I love my wife, I love my family and my kids, and, I just want to move on and, get this thing behind me. And
so, let me be clear. You say this only happened this one night.
It's one night. One night. It was a one-night stand.
You never saw her again?
Never saw her again.
Ms. Lema?
That's wrong, Your Honor. That's wrong.
How often would you see Mr. Anderson?
We've seen each other for 2 years, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays.
Was it strange to you that you only saw him on Saturdays and Sundays, or you thought he was working during the week?
Not really, because I went to his house numerous of times, but in his house...
Wait, excuse me. You went to his house numerous times?
Yes, I went to his house numerous of times, and I told her what was in her house, and I described it to her.
Oh, my God.
Hold on. Mr. Anderson, where was your family when you would take this woman to your home?
They, my son was probably playing, my kids were probably playing sports or something like that.
So now your story is coming around. You're admitting that this continued past just one night.
Oh my God.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Anderson, I'm gonna remind you, you are in court and you need to tell the truth. It's time for you to lay it on the line. If you really love your wife and your marriage the way you say you do and your family, because you got this young woman over here describing your furniture, and that's a problem to any woman. I'm mad for her.
She's just looking for some money. She's looking for a cash out.
That's not the case at all. That's not
well, if she's looking for a cash out, you gave her the directions because you led her right to your treasure, and that's your family.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
So you become pregnant.
Yes.
And when you find out you're pregnant, who do you tell?
I went to Mr. Anderson at first. I went to his family at first. I couldn't contact him, so I went to his family, and I got rejected by them. So I was like, well, that really hurted me. So I was just like, well, let me move to the other person that I had sex with during that time.
Oh, hold on. Let me understand this. So you did sleep with another man during the window of conception during that time?
Correct.
And you were sleeping with both men without protection?
Correct.
So how did you finally get in touch with him?
Well, I got in touch with him like later, like we met up and we had sex again when I was around 4 months pregnant.
Okay.
No, Your Honor.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That didn't happen. She disappeared.
Yeah,
I haven't, Your Honor, I haven't heard from her in months.
So when she was 4 months pregnant, you didn't meet up with her? Mr. Anderson, just tell the truth now. Just tell the truth. I mean, really. Did you know Miss Lema was pregnant?
I didn't know, but we did sleep around a couple times.
So you met up with her again when she was pregnant, and you did sleep with her again? I'll take that as a yes. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Miss Anderson, you are Mr. Anderson's wife.
Yes.
Thank you for enduring very difficult testimony. I know that was hard for you to hear.
Yes, it was, Your Honor.
Has the testimony you heard today been different from the understanding you've had?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please explain.
Once we messaged each other, I asked her for her phone number because I want to talk on the phone. You understand? And when she was telling me the things that she was telling me, my whole world it caved in. Like, are you serious? You know, this is my husband.
Because you all have built a lot together.
A business. We've been through a lot, Your Honor. And just to
And
hear,
children?
5. Come on, like.
At what point did you hear there was potentially a baby?
She told me it was a baby. I asked him. Clearly he lied to me because when I confronted him about it the first time, he told me they had sex one time. It shouldn't have been no times.
Occasions.
It shouldn't have been no times. Even after you found out that he was married, you should have left him alone.
Okay, you're right.
You should have left him alone.
Okay.
Come on, like what kind of woman are you? Who does that? Okay. Now you got a baby. Not only that, you don't even know who your baby daddy is.
Okay,
like,
we're gonna find out
really?
today, though.
Really?
Find out today,
really?
though. Okay.
Huh.
Okay.
Oh my God, this hurts really bad, and I try to keep it together for my children, but it really, really hurts. And just to know that there could be another baby in my family, like, come on.
And truthfully, your marriage is on the line because
My
of
marriage
this.
is past on the line. I can't. And then he's sitting up here. First he said it's one time, now it's numerous of times. You understand? I knew it when she told me what was in my house, that it was numerous of times. And he kept lying. It hurts really, really bad. It hurts really, really, really. No.
Mr. Anderson.
Don't fix it. Sorry, don't fix it.
Mr. Anderson, have you ever seen the baby?
No, ma'am.
Never.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
You lie about everything else.
There's still another man you admit you were sleeping with during this time that could be your daughter's father.
Yes.
Jerome, I think we should meet him. Please escort him in.
Wow. Typical.
Maybe go right up next to the judge at the witness stand.
Thank you for joining us, sir. State your name for the court.
Cameron Scott.
Mr. Scott, thank you for being here. Ms. Lema has told us she was also in a sexual relationship with you during the time she was in a sexual relationship with Mr. Anderson. So you could possibly be this child's father. Are you clear on that?
Yes, Your Honor.
What was the situation?
Well, the situation was when I first met Mrs. Lema, we met at a gas station. Come February, I took her flowers to a job site, took her out to eat on Valentine's Day, and then in March we had a sexual intercourse.
All right, and when did you find out she was pregnant?
I found out about 3 months later. She was already about 2.5, 3 months pregnant when she told me that she was pregnant with
And she told you herself?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when she told you, did you think, this is my baby?
At first I did, until she started telling me about Mr. Anderson.
Oh, she told you about Mr. Anderson?
Yes. She told me that there's a possibility that I may or may not be the father.
Okay, so she was honest.
Yes, ma'am.
And so at that point, you did what? Did you support her through the pregnancy? Were you there at doctor's appointments?
Yes, Your Honor, I was there throughout the pregnancy.
You was not there.
I reject, Your Honor. I reject. I reject
You
that.
object. You can reject the statement.
I object that, Your Honor.
Object too, but that's all right. You better go ahead and practice you some law, baby. Go ahead.
He didn't go to any doctor's appointments or anything like that. But
Okay.
as far as feeding me when I was hungry and stuff, yes, he was there.
So and that's a very important part of being pregnant,
Correct.
we know. Was Mr. Anderson involved at all?
No, he wasn't there neither.
Okay, and these are the only two men you were sleeping with at that time?
Yes.
Okay. Have you met the baby?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have. Do you come visit her regularly?
No.
Why?
Because I have doubt in my mind that she may or may not be mine, Your Honor.
When you spend time with her and you look at her, do you see a resemblance?
Yes, I do.
You do? You think she looks like you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lema, when you look at your child, do you feel like she looks like one man or the other?
Mr. Anderson has a child that she looks exactly like her, like the way her eyes
You know what his
is.
kids look like?
Yes.
She been around my children. Are you serious?
Wait a minute. When?
Are you serious?
Like sometimes, you know, he'll come meet me with the kids with them. Yes.
How old are your children?
Oh my God, I have a 12-year-old. I have a 10-year-old. I have an 8-year-old, 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old, Your Honor.
Mr. Anderson.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
How would she think her daughter looks like some of your children if she's never seen them?
She must be passing by and
No.
stalking, stuff like that.
No.
Oh my God.
Passing by? Listen, I don't want to do this at the expense of Ms. Anderson's feelings, but since this is a point of contention, explain to the court, how did you see his children? You say numerous occasions. How did you see them?
He bring the kids around me, like when we meet up or something, when he give me money, like he'll bring the kids.
Give her money? Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you serious?
That is not
That's
true.
how you
He
feel.
bring the kids with them.
Yes.
And
That's how you
who
feel.
did they think you
That's
were?
how you feel.
I'm not sure who they thought I was.
That's how you feel.
But we didn't.
Who
do
is she? They
anything in front of
auntie?
them.
That's not true, baby.
Who is she? Your
That is not
cousin?
true.
Wow.
What are your hopes today, Ms. Lema? Do
I really
you
hope
want this
that-
to be your child's father?
Yes, I
Or do you
really
want
do.
this
No,
to be
you
your
don't.
child's father?
No, you don't.
I want
No,
Mr.
ma'am.
Anderson
No,
to be my
you
child's
don't.
father. He's more stable.
You want the
than
baby
Mr.
dad to be
Scott.
the baby dad, and it's not him.
No, it's Mr.
It's
Mr.
not
Anderson.
him. It's
Mr.
not him.
Anderson.
It's
Okay.
not him.
We'll see today.
Get it together.
We'll see today.
Get it together.
We'll see today.
Girl, get your life.
Okay.
No, what she's trying to get is your life.
She won't get
And
this
this
life.
is what the problem
She won't
is.
get her life.
No.
What we need to do here is figure out the truth, because Mr. Anderson, you have gotten yourself into, I mean, this is beyond a mess. This is a nightmare. Your bad judgment has gotten you.
Bad
mean,
judgment.
This is just a shame. And the only way to move forward is to get the results. Jerome.
I hope you're praying. I hope you're praying.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Jerome, why don't you take a stand right in the middle of the aisleway? We know this can be emotional. Let's all just try to keep calm. In the case of Lema versus Scott Anderson, as to whether Mr. Scott is the father of 1-year-old Christina. Mr. Scott, you are not her father.
You just stay right here.
Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. pertaining to whether Mr. Anderson is the father of 1-year-old Christina. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not her father.
Oh my God.
There can't be.
Oh my God.
Plaintiffs lie, defendants lie, DNA does not lie. Mr. Anderson, when I read the result, I could see the relief you felt. I felt the relief as well, but it wasn't for you. It was for your wife. You know you need to be ashamed. I don't know what you're gonna say or what you're gonna do or how you're gonna begin again with this woman that you call your wife. Ma'am, Miss Anderson, I give you a lot of credit today. I can't say if I stood there in your position that I could even keep as much composure as you did today.
It's hard, but I mean, I feel bad for the child.
Absolutely.
Because it's not her fault that her mom is loose. But I'm happy I don't have to deal with that.
Mr. Lewis, you say for 35 years you've always known you were Miss Scott's biological father, but circumstances kept you away. You claim the DNA results will prove you are Krystal Scott's dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Scott, you claim you are Krystal's biological father. You were at her birth, raised her from day one, and are still legally married to her mother. You say the results will prove you are Krystal's dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Lewis, 35 years. So why is this so important to resolve now?
Your Honor, this is something to me has been long overdue. She is my daughter. I believed her when her mom told me 35 years ago that I was the father. I never doubted her. I look at her, a lot of pictures. I looked at her when she was small. I looked at her as she became an adult, and she's my daughter. We have a lot of the same characteristics. When I look at her, I say, wow, I see myself. And we've taken some pictures together with the other kids, and she looks as much like me as all the other kids. So I believe in my heart, I always believe from the moment her mom told me that she is my daughter, and I still believe that right now today.
Miss Scott, were you told as a child that Mr. Lewis was your biological father?
Your Honor, my mom never told me that Mr. Lewis was my biological father. My dad here, he raised me. He taught me how to fish. We went on family vacations. That's one we were in Florida. Just last year we were there for a family reunion, well, class reunion. He taught me what to expect from a man, hardworking.
This was your dad? Mm-hmm. And you were told this was not just your father figure, this was your biological father. That's what you grew up thinking?
Yes, ma'am.
For 35 years?
35 years.
Mr. Scott, you've been a father to your daughter?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
And you believed she was your daughter?
No ifs, no ands about it.
You were married to her mother?
Yes.
Her mother is your wife?
Exactly.
Still is your wife?
Still is.
So, Mr. Lewis.
Yes.
What was the nature of the relationship you had with Miss Scott's mother?
Well, Miss Scott and I had met, and we got into a relationship. We both, I was in love with her, and I believed she was in love with me. I was an unhappy man. She was an unhappy wife.
So you knew she was married?
I knew she was married. Exactly.
And you said you were an unhappy man.
I was unhappy.
Were you an unhappy man or an unhappy husband?
I was an unhappy husband. And
okay.
So we became involved, and we had probably an 8-year relationship. She told me that at 7 months, she asked me, who do you think this child is? I said, well, it's your husband. She said, no, it's yours. And I was stunned, but I believed her from that moment because she to me, in my opinion, she was the type of woman, she wouldn't come to me and just make up something or say something like that. She was a good woman. She still is, I believe. And
so to be clear, you had an 8-year affair with this man's wife.
I did.
How often were you seeing her?
As often as I could. Maybe
Every
two or three
day,
times a week. As often
2 or 3 times a week?
Yes.
In the daytime?
In the afternoon.
In the afternoons?
Yes.
So, Mr. Scott, you were working?
Oh, yes. It'd be late at night when I get home sometime, 8, 9, 10 at night.
So you worked long hours?
I work long hours.
So you had no idea she had had an 8-year affair with Mr. Lewis?
No, ma'am, Your Honor. That is a fact. I do not know that. So
the first time you're finding out that they had an 8-year affair is today, in this moment, the same time I'm finding out?
Correct. That is correct.
So, Ms. Scott, when's the first time you remember meeting Mr. Lewis?
When I was little, I used to be up under my mom's tail all the time. Everywhere she went, I had to go. When I was a kid, 5 years old, 6 years old, when she would say, let's go to the store, that's when we would go and meet Mr. Lewis in the store. When we would meet him, of course, it would just be me, her, and I, and we would meet him. He would give me $5, $10, and they would walk a little bit down the aisle, you know, and hug, kiss. And
you saw your mother hug and kiss
and I would
Mr.
just
Lewis.
be.
And so who did your mother tell you this man was?
She just told me he was a friend. That's it. That's all she ever said. I didn't know anything other than, because, you know, I mean, she's my mom. I trust her. So with her saying that he's just a friend, that's all I thought was he was just a friend.
And to this day, to this very day, has she ever told you Mr. Lewis is truly your biological father?
No. She told me that finally she told me it was in January of this year that there's a possibility.
So she finally admitted to there being a possibility.
A possibility.
So this is a 35-year-old mystery. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. And now you have to look at the man who you've believed all your life is your biological father. And now you have to have very real questions because your mother has finally, after 35 years, validated those questions.
And it hurts to think that he could not be my father.
Because you say he's your hero.
He is.
And that's been something you could rely on your whole life.
Mm-hmm. I can honestly say that he has shown me true love.
Unconditional.
Unconditional love.
You know, that's what dads do. And that's why we fight so hard in this courtroom to make sure people know their father and children have relationships with their fathers. And then there are young women and young men that come into our courtroom that are in your position, really torn between two potential fathers.
I am torn. I'm torn between feeling that, you know, he's my dad because he's been there, and then I'm torn between all my questions as to why.
And when you say why?
If Mr. Lewis knew my mom was pregnant and she told him that I was his, then why not make it right from the beginning? Instead of having me go through years and years of pain, looking at my family, hearing family members even say that, you know, I'm not his.
You've heard family members say this to you. They said it to your face?
Mm-hmm.
What did they say?
Mm-hmm. I had a family member say that, you know, Dad's not your dad anyway, so.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And so this has been years of pain.
Mm-hmm. Looking in the mirror, trying to figure out who you are. You know one side of you is your mom, but you don't know the other side. And in my subconscious thinking, I'm really upset because I don't know who my dad is.
And so because they never divorced, after you all broke up, you just didn't pursue this. Why didn't you pursue this? I have to ask this question. This is what what Krystal, what Ms. Scott was just saying. Like, once you knew, once she told you definitively, this is your daughter, then where are you in this? Why are you not pursuing it? Why not that extra step?
We broke up, but that is true. And I thought about all those things that you're seeing right there, you know. But then I also thought about the harm it would do. What it's going to be, what's going to come after that, you know? Him and I are going to get into it. One of us go to graveyard, one of us go to prison. So I said, just let this play out the way it's going to play out, however. Now, it hurts. It hurted me because, you know, I know that I have a child that I can't go out and tell the world this is my child.
Mr. Scott, how does this feel to stand in this courtroom and listen to this man say he was with your wife for 8 years, that she told him immediately that Krystal was his biological child, that they would meet up at stores and he would buy her toys, and you didn't know any of this?
She is still my daughter, just because of what? She is mine. I don't care what he think. I don't care what he feel. She is mine because I've raised her. And by the way, and since he's talking about what I was gonna do to him, I never planned to do nothing to him. But Your Honor, from my heart, it's the truth. I've been knowing him a long time myself, and he know I have.
This is tough because there are so many dynamics going on. Your ultimate allegiance should have been to the child if she was your biological child. And I know what Ms. Scott feels like. It feels like, okay, you all may have done what you did and had whatever relationship you had, but who chooses me? Who says my best interest comes before whatever else is going on? Even if you had to get into a confrontation with Mr. Scott, am I not worth that conversation?
No one chose me. No one chose me.
And that's what I know you feel when I look in your eyes. And
my mom didn't even choose me because she chose to not even come to support me. Everyone is thinking about themselves. From when they were young, they were thinking about themselves. I don't want to get in a confrontation. If he had came in my path, I would have did this. Everything is I, but nothing was ever done in the best interest of me.
I could not have said it better.
And that hurt, it hurts. And now I've had my own children, and, you know, they know my dad to be their granddad, and
that's something ultimately you may have to explain.
But what I won't do is I won't let it linger on for 30 plus years like they did me.
What are your hopes today, Ms. Scott?
I mean, I hope my dad is my dad, but if not, we have to proceed and take it from there, and it's hard. I feel like I've been placed in a hard spot. I've been placed in a position that I didn't even ask to be in. And I feel like everything that they've done, the three of them collectively, my dad, Mr. Lewis, and my mom, it's been pushed up under the rug all these years. And now, you know, it's just all coming back down on me. It's like a set of unfolded clothes. I have to sit here and I have to fold all these clothes.
And sort them.
And sort them out and put them where they belong. And
what a metaphor. Yes, indeed. And I think as we begin to sort through this, as you so eloquently put it, the first place we need to start is the truth. And I have that for you. Jerome, the envelope. Ms. Scott, it's been 35 years and you do not deserve to wait 1 minute longer. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Lewis versus Scott, pertaining to whether Mr. Lewis or Mr. Scott is the father of Ms. Krystal Scott, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Lewis.
Okay.
Brother Lewis, I don't hate you. I don't fault you. It's my wife. You can't do no more than what she did. And I know that.
And I would like to apologize to you. In my opinion, I still believe that her mom is a great mom. We both made a mistake. Krystal, I love you. I'm sorry that you were placed in this situation. You are my daughter. I've always believed it. And hopefully we can move on forward from there. And
while I appreciate, gentlemen, this beautiful moment where you acknowledge one another, I'm just incredibly disappointed that all the focus is not on Krystal. It's just not about y'all anymore.
It's not about what Mama did. It's not about
what he did.
It's not about that.
And take a moment, because I want you to have your say. Because this is for you and your children.
I'm glad I got the results, but then I'm thinking in my head, now where do I go from here? It hurt me when I was talking to a family member last night, and I was telling her, I said, you know, you think of your family as your family. You know, you don't think as people as half this. And she was saying, well, I'm not half, I'm whole. But in the back of my mind, they're not, and it hurts.
But Mr. Scott and Mr. Lewis, I'm concerned now about what Krystal said. And I need you all to be concerned about that too.
Well, I am. I am concerned about it.
And I need you to be there for her. And sometimes that means, as a parent, putting your feelings aside. That's what it takes. Because right now, she's standing there with tears coming down her face, and both of y'all looking at me.
I'd like to say I'm sorry, very sorry. Please, may I give you a hug? I love you.